If you want to be my friend, you better go and get a pen. And maybe we can keep in touch. Like a dig. Give me a little Bob Dylan. It wasn't so long ago. I wish you well. Bobby D. Bobby D and the Smooth Maroons. That's not a bad name. The Smooth Maroons? Bobby D and the Smooth Maroons?
That is a really good name.
The Smooth Maroons. Nobody steal that. None of our listeners or viewers steal that. Don't steal that.
What's your favorite Bob Dylan song?
Great question. I don't know that I
don't mean to put you on the spot.
You're not at all. I don't know that I'm this massive Bob Dylan fan. There is music I like. I'm not such a fan where I could just name music. I will say the documentary by Scorsese, No Direction Home, about Bob Dylan fascinates me endlessly.
Never seen it.
It's great. You'd love it. Okay. But I think what
Spider-Man,
I'm a bigger
No
fan of, I'm a bigger fan of the time frame of Greenwich Village, beatnik culture, poets, singers, and songwriters.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel
coming together.
Lenny Bruce, Allen Ginsberg,
Peter, Paul, and Mary,
just coming together to like.
These are shows. What is a show? What does it mean to go to an event?
Such a crock pot of
like imagine how cool that would have been at a time. Like even in thinking about like in the comedy boom era, I can't remember. This is probably awful that I don't remember
Lenny Clark,
but but like that Boston scene. When they talk about like Stephen Wright, Dennis Leary, and Lenny Clark, and all of the Boston comics, how they were just like, we just were doing shows. We didn't really know what a show even was. Yeah. Like, isn't that so fun that the performers and the audience, this moment is so new, no one knows what it should be. And imagine in that beatnik culture, the cool thing was full support, yes, and. For anything. Yeah. So people could have gone up there
inside Llewyn
Davis
painted
and just rubbed themselves on a canvas and been like, I'm making art. And everyone would have felt like they were a villain to not be like, yeah, it is. That is art.
And then the next performance was just a guy with a mouth harp.
Yeah. Now, granted, does it mean that a lot of bad art was supported?
100%.
Sure, but it's not like that. Support or no support, bad shit doesn't just rise to the fucking top. So I love that time frame. Yeah. I've always loved it. It's what I think I've said it on this show before, but that's what like I love about stand-up comedy is that you just need you. Like in trimming down singer-songwriter, I don't even need the guitar. It's just me. Yeah, I get out my journal. Yeah, give me a water. Yeah, give me a stool. Yeah, give me a microphone. But if you eliminated everything, I don't have. I am all-encompassingly the instrument and the player.
Yep.
And that's what I like about going on the road and stuff, that culture. So, probably Hurricane.
That's a good one. My favorite is Don't Think Twice. It's all right.
Yeah.
Ain't no use in calling out my name.
Yeah.
Like you never done before.
Watchtower was Hendrix or Bob Dylan?
All Along the Watchtower.
Yeah, it's Dylan.
Dylan wrote that?
Yeah, but Dave Matthews perfected it.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Dude, Soldier.
Lisa, what is that face?
She doesn't know. Dude, I only know this secondhand, but you probably might know this.
Close?
When they did it at Soldier Field, which I think is the main recording of it, is them at Soldier Field in Chicago. But they had
they closed.
They had it worked out that it's
marching
so
much.
The lights. There's a whole thing they do.
Yeah.
It's because it's a watchtower.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing. The thing I was gonna. Guess who I met since we last hung out?
Do not tell me.
It's huge.
Do not even tell me.
Huge.
Don't even tell me after I guess.
told you.
I don't know.
Huge.
Okay.
Huge.
Okay. Film?
No.
Music?
Yes. Huge.
Oh.
So A-list music today or classically, legendarily?
Icon.
This made me want to puke.
David Byrne?
Nope.
Okay. Still performing?
Yes. Icon.
I'm only guessing people that are dead. My guesses are so bad.
Icon.
Give me. Okay, I heard that part. Give me. Can I have a genre?
You've mentioned it, like in this conversation.
Fuck. Just now.
Yep.
So Bob Dylan.
Ish.
Jacob Dylan. I
That'd
don't
be
know.
awesome.
Who?
You can give
Who?
a more specific genre.
Oh, Dave
than that.
Matthews.
No, I'm gonna say you didn't mention the artist. You mentioned the genre.
Just say the genre.
Singer songwriter.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't fucking know.
Icon.
I got that.
It's because Roar, you would have felt I stammered. We don't stammer.
I
We've
know.
met so many people. We've had people on this show that are icons.
I stammer all the time. Like, have you ever sent food back? I can't even. I don't know what to do. Like,
Did you stammer at your first? Hey, you guys are in Tool.
wait, what?
When you first met Adam and Maynard.
I just didn't do anything. It was like,
Yeah. Okay, it was a bit of that. It was a bit of that, but I tried to talk.
For everyone out there, I don't know if we've ever even brought this up, but we have tried countless times to get Adam on this fucking
Literally
show.
countless. Some
And he
people say
won't
that
do
as
it.
a few.
And so now I'm
I've
willing to
lost
say
count.
go to his Instagram account and flood his Instagram account and just say, why won't you do Pen Pals? And he won't even watch this episode to even know that we told people to do
Right.
that. But if everyone could, who knows, maybe this is a clip. If everyone could, if you're
Don't
seeing
do
this,
this to him.
if you're seeing this, go to Adam Jones's of Tool, go to his Instagram and just ask him what is his fucking
Tell him we
problem.
love him.
Also, he just had a baby. So he's got time. They're not touring yet. Who was it?
Just tell you.
Yes. Wait, do you okay with this? Or do you want to guess?
She
No,
knows.
I already know.
Oh, who was it?
James Taylor
Really?
Yeah.
When?
at the Newport Folk Festival.
Oh my God. Do you know what's so funny?
What?
That wasn't who I was thinking of. I forgot. I know you met him. I was thinking about
Tina
Emmy
Turner.
Lou.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't meet her,
Oh,
but I saw Emily Harris. was
that
there,
one would have made me really puke.
Too. Nico
Yeah,
Case
that's-
was there too.
but what was, and you lit up, you legit straight up had a one-on-one?
Yeah.
What? Why? Give me some contextual information.
He came to the Newport Folk Festival on a boat
As you often do if you're
because
JT.
another performer, due to vocal exhaustion, canceled. And they just, I guess, freaked out and said, will you come fill in? Wherever
Yeah.
he was at, he took a boat to
Well,
get
he was
there.
obviously with Jimmy Buffett somewhere.
And I saw him get off, and a whole bunch of people cheered. And I was like, who is that? And then I was walking over, and then I realized there's only one way. The dock comes in at one place.
Yeah.
He's going to come up right where I'm
Why
at.
did you have this access? Were you behind the
This
scenes?
was just at the festival.
Oh, so he's just walking amongst the civilians.
So he comes walking up, and I see him.
Yeah.
And then he looks at me, and he kind of takes like a stop.
And
Like
he goes,
a little
I
bit.
love pen pals.
Dude, he goes, I'm going to talk to Adam about getting on the show.
Like, wow, he
Music to
loves
music.
it.
Yeah. And
He goes, I thought her grandmother was cunty. Anyways,
What a
Daniel,
good pull.
Daniel, I got to go to the show.
what a good pull.
Daniel, I got to go to the show. Your name should be before Rory's. Like, he's just sucking up to you so hard.
And
You would be like, what?
I said, I might have called him Mr. Taylor. I really don't remember, but I said,
God, I hope you did.
it's
You
amazing.
said, hey, sweet daddy, James.
I said, it's amazing that you're here. And he said, yeah, pretty excited about it. And I said, I'm a huge fan of your music and my family. And then
You just started crying and you hugged him.
I said, thank you for your contributions to music.
That's nice.
But isn't that so weird? Like, I'm giving him a Lifetime Achievement Award. I felt
No.
so
nice.
insecure
Are you
about
kidding?
it.
He just got off a boat. He's about to go play, and someone just said, "Hey, you're Jesus." He's like, "No, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna be
But it
great.
felt so-
I'm gonna crush this show."
It felt so stilted and
What did he
hokey.
say?
You guys are making me feel better about it.
say?
He goes, lean in a little bit.
Oh, any lean in I don't get.
Okay. Now you're gonna send me on a whole other thing about that sort of deal. He leans in and he goes, thank you. And then I was like, I go, you're welcome. No, and then
I wish he went. Hey, thank you.
I've been trying.
Immediately, he's like, "Fuck, dude. All right, I gotta go play my show."
The last 45 seconds is for the Friday Watch crew. And so he said, thank you very much. And then it was like, I got to go play. It was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, 40 minutes later, I watched him on stage. Just the hits.
Yeah. Why anything
and
else?
There were people.
Yes, they let me know you were gone.
Yeah.
Suzanne, the plans they made, put an end to you. God, it's so tragic.
I woke up this morning and wrote down this song. So, you know, people were doing that thing in between. I was thinking, this doesn't really happen to us in comedy. If there's a lull between banter and song, you'll get, love you! Right? You know? And I thought to myself, I don't need to yell. Because I already told him.
I gotta be honest, though, if you did.
We just met, remember?
He clocked you and be like, this guy. This guy. Guys, that's that guy. It's that guy again.
Do we know him?
James! He's like, oh, fuck.
I will say I was a little bit of the kid who got the best.
Security. Get security. Nod to security.
Right. I was a little bit of the kid, the first kid who got the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Because they didn't announce. They said due to vocal exhaustion, I forget his name.
Oh, so nobody knew.
So-and-so isn't playing, but we've asked a legendary friend to step in.
Yeah.
And so people didn't know, and I got to be a little bit of the kid with the shiny toy.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys want to know who it is? And they were like, yeah. And I go, it's James Taylor. And people were like, oh, yeah, but who is it really? And I'm like, I just met him. It's James Taylor. And I felt so cool.
Were you there by yourself?
No, I went
Wait, why were you at this?
Amy was performing there. Yeah.
That's right.
That's all you need to know. Yeah. So
Did you go
she
up?
crushed. No. She crushed, though.
Weren't you going to play the triangle or something?
Tambourine, baby.
That's right. And you didn't.
We're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just got to learn the instrument. Is that it? You're not going to rehearsals?
Kinda.
I
don't know what a 4/4 time signature is.
I've never known. When people talk about Tool, I say time signatures. Those are keywords. Those are keywords to throw out there. I have no idea.
You mean when Time writes its name? That's what it is.
Thank you. When I got an autograph from Time, we got to get into this.
Let's take a break.
Folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Let's go to the letters.
Hey, when you're in the zone, who am I to step on it?
That's maybe the closest I've ever gotten to the Chicago Bulls guy. It was so guttural.
Ooh.
Hey.
I like this guy.
Should we paint like a face so that's like sort of an homage to Pee Wee
Should
Herman?
we name him?
Yeah.
Or her?
Well, let's let our listeners do it.
It's Penny, right? No. Pally? No.
Shouldn't let the listeners do it?
Letty?
Okay. Hey, everybody. In our effort to create engagement through social media.
Organically, though. That's what's wrong with us. That's what's wrong with us. We should be thinking about stuff like this.
No one send us Daniel's suggestions. New names. You can't take Daniel's.
Unless one of them was perfect.
Yes.
No, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Everything can be beaten.
Everyone send us some new names for the little bird on our little letterbox here.
Okay. This is stationary.
Should we write Malone right there? Okay, go ahead.
Alone.
Post alone.
Okay.
Post alone.
To Rory and Daniel. From Zach. Last name struck. First off, I'm a huge fan of the podcast, and I'm very happy the Instagram algorithm kept putting Rory in front of me. Okay, that's why.
Good.
So that's why he doesn't know the order.
What?
Because he thinks it's fine.
No, he's going off of.
You may have noticed
fucking incredible.
The office memo paper. We've never even talked about memo paper. Sorry, I'll go through. The office memo paper on which this letter is written. My grandpa was Forrest Fraunfelter.
Fake. Go ahead.
And he was the mayor of South St. Paul, Minnesota, from 1973 to 1975.
I believe him.
He worked alongside. He was a longtime shop teacher, a Korean War veteran, and a member of Veterans for Peace. He worked alongside Native American activist Leonard Peltier, who, forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, who was controversially convicted of killing 2 FBI agents. My mom tells stories of Peltier being at their kitchen table when she was a kid. My grandpa died in 2010 at the age of 76 when he was killed with his own gun, shot twice in the chest in the parking garage in Everett, Washington. Little is known, and it remains an unsolved case. I didn't have much of a relationship with my grandpa. My mother says he was emotionally abusive and manipulative. He and my mom had a falling out when I was 12, and I never heard from him again. I have a similar situation with my father. My father says my grandpa was the most interesting person he ever met. Like Forrest, my father is a war vet, a local politician, and an intense personality. He was also abusive to my mother when I was little. We spent time in battered women's shelters and moved around the country a lot after they divorced. My father wants a relationship with our 2 kids. We do our best to see him, and we can tell he wants to be a positive presence, but there is baggage. 5 years ago, my wife and I bought land out of town and built a house and a farmstead. 4 years ago, that'd be 1 year later, my dad bought land 1.2 miles away from us and built his own house. So now we are country neighbors. I didn't grow up with grandparents, cancer, and an unsolved murder. My wife had a close connection to her grandparents, and I envy that childhood. I would like the same for my kids. Here's my question. How important is family and legacy to you? Is there a line a person could cross that would make you cut someone out of your life and the life of their grandkids? On one hand, I want to write them off because of how he treated my mom. On the other hand, both my dad and grandpa experienced a lot of trauma, both in war and losing parents young from disease. They are both from a time where things like this were not processed. Thanks for your time, Zach. P.S. Are comedians really as close as podcasts portray them? Are you a tight-knit group of creatives collaborating to make each other's lives better, or are you really cutthroat loners competing for airtime? Ding dong, ding ding.
Blappity snip snaps, flippity flams.
I mean, we've talked about this a little
Isn't
bit.
the word pancake just kind of perfect?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like waffle, it's almost like it's waffling around what it is. But a pancake is a cake in a pan.
It describes how it was made in the name.
Yeah.
In the name. Like, what does Beef Wellington tell you about itself?
Thank you.
Interesting thing.
Felt very personally.
Why? Because you made Beef Wellington?
It just feels like you really attacked Beef Wellington right there.
No, I'm
Like
just saying,
held,
I thought of
you've
something
sort
that
of
had a name
held
that doesn't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Our show tells you what it is.
What would you like to tackle first?
Well, the interesting thing I was just going to say as a side note, and I think we might address this if we haven't already on a larger issue.
Yeah.
Is I like the whole letter.
I love the whole
first
letter.
half could have been its own letter.
Yeah.
Just about, hey, here's something.
This
that
is
happened.
really 2 letters.
But I understand how they tie together and why you gave that context.
Yeah.
But then it's almost 3 letters actually, because then the final thing is its own. You could have said, guess what? This is who my grandfather was, and this is how he died. It's still unsolved.
Yep.
I understand why
That's
you
already
needed
a
that
movie.
for the second part, but that could have been its own letter.
Yeah.
Then the second letter, it would have been family legacy.
Dad moved down the street.
Yeah, and legacy.
Country neighbors.
And then the third
Comics.
one, comics.
I would say, as a just side note for people that write us letters, feel free to write us more than 1 letter if you have numerous topics in a thing. This is great. I get it. And a lot of people do it. But we are so, especially me, very ADHD.
Yeah.
And all I can think about now is a 20 to 30 minute answer about the community of comedians.
And the perceived community.
And the perceived community.
Which doesn't cut negatively necessarily, but it goes both ways.
When really I want to get down to a veteran being killed by his own gun and how wildly suspicious that sounds, while he did live a life where he was friends with someone who supposedly killed 2 FBI agents.
And was the mayor of a major city.
And the mayor of a major city. Is the U.S. government smart enough to go, oh, he just went into that store while in the parking garage. We already know his gun is in his glove compartment. We're going to break into the car. We're going to take the gun out of the glove compartment. We're going to kill him with his own gun. Shot twice to the chest, so clearly no effort to make it look like a suicide.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Which is very interesting, because why would you do it that way? And then put the gun back. That's my...
Did he pull the gun and get in an argument with a person, and in the struggle they ended up with his gun and shot him?
Yeah, that's my going down the way too far road of conspiracy. When in reality, it's like someone broke into his car, found a gun. He was walking
while
up,
it was happening,
shot him, and then ran off, or put the gun back and ran off, and whatever. But the fact that it's still unsolved, I don't know. There's so many elements to just that my brain is just like, God, that's so interesting. Also, when someone's like, my grandfather was a shop teacher, a Korean War vet, worked for Veterans United or whatever for Veterans for Peace, was friends with the Native American
activists.
When you hear that, aren't you like, I'm doing nothing with my life, and we're not doing nothing with our life, but that you're just like, I don't do anything. There's no way to hear all that and just go, well, what in the fuck do I do? Now, granted, we could sit here and go, you do something else. But we're so inside of it, we can't see that something else that maybe we do. I wouldn't change it for the world, but I do feel like I should at least be friends with one Native American activist.
Yes. I've been telling you this for years.
That's my specific focus.
I have it in my car right now, a Marquette County Tribune. There's an obituary in there of a guy who served in World War II. And the obituary, he does so much in his life that I'm like, what? How many chapters of my life do I really have? 2? And I know it's more. It's obviously more. But also, letter that is unintentional. You and I could just talk about this paper. First of all, that's the Meow Wolf font.
Thank you.
This is exactly what I thought of when I saw it.
That's what I thought a little bit too.
And then
it's very official and militaristic.
Yeah.
Until you read the font that Memo is in, and then you're like, it's hip. It's fun.
70s.
It's hip and fun.
Yeah, that was from the 70s.
But I love this.
Obviously, it was.
I'm
73,
not gonna
75.
lie. And I know this is crazy, and this goes against art, but I'm almost like every letter should have to be written on this. And this is how you get a letter.
Well, and that's good stock too. That's
good stock.
Sorry, Sergeant.
It's good stock. So stupid. I love that in classic military fashion, he crossed his own name out, his last name.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said it was struck.
But I like how he wrote Rory. I might start sending my name in that kind of font. It's on the this is the letterhead of Forrest Fraunfelter.
Yeah, that's his grandfather.
This is incredible. Okay, here there's nothing we can do about the grandfather. Here's my thoughts on the dad. This is a tough situation in terms of, let's get to the emotional element of it. Forgiveness of like all of these things. It's very difficult. Do I concede, yes, the grandfather and father are war veterans, and I could not tell you how psychologically damaging that is. I couldn't tell you. And I know that you don't sit here and go, well, then why aren't all vets like that? Like, I think everyone's, and this is coming from no experience, but I assume everyone's military experience is uniquely their own.
Yes.
And I think that you have those military bonds because of the wild trauma, much like kids, siblings in an abusive household maybe have an incredibly strong trauma bond. Yep. I think that exists. Granted, also we're social species. I can't tell you what level of forgiveness you provide to someone like your father or grace in a situation like this. It really is a place where, in regards to that, I don't actually have an answer, because there's varying degrees of no abuse is okay, but I think we would all agree there's varying degrees of abuse and what you could maybe assume someone could maybe get treatment for, or something where you're like, you actually should just be in prison. Like, you still do need treatment. Everyone needs treatment. But yours is in you are a danger to society and yourself type abuse. Mm-hmm. And then there's you're verbally manipulative, and that's different. Yeah. Still all abusive. Harmful, but different categories. So I couldn't tell you based on that. You know, if you're in battered women's shelters, I would say that's trauma. The first, I would say it's a high degree of one, but I don't know the circumstances. I will say this. It's maybe worth explaining, if you haven't already, to your dad why you are apprehensive. If you have not had that face-to-face, if you feel like that's something you could do. I know that you said he has an extreme personality, an intense personality, and honestly, I am wildly turned off and terrified of those personalities because I don't understand them in any way. But if you feel like saying, hey, here's why I'm apprehensive to spend time with you or create a relationship with you, or have you be around my grandkids because you physically assaulted my mother and I saw it and that didn't mean anything to you. Here's an opportunity for you to tell me something. But at the same time, what is manipulation? What is honesty? What is any of that? So that's where I'm coming from. I couldn't tell you what the solution is. other than a very hardcore face-to-face conversation if it's possible.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna do some
and then outside of that, I think us comics are pretty, supportive.
Yeah, pretty friendly. I'm gonna make like some wild speculation. It's interesting that he says we can tell he wants to be a positive presence, but there's baggage. So that kind of denotes that like you feel that there's true sincerity of your dad wanting to be a good and for by comparison a better person to your children than he was to you.
Right.
And my big speculation is I wonder, no, we're not professionals, we just give a shit. I wonder if that gives you resentment because you couldn't give me positivity.
Right.
And now you're going to fucking give it to my kids.
I think that's a great
And it's almost like, no, you don't
potential.
get to. And I say this with love. And I guess you said it too. That is your baggage. You're holding on to that.
Yeah.
Because you are resentful of what your kids could get because you didn't get it. But at the same time, you seem, per the letter, all we have, to actually believe that he does want to be better. And I think, I do this bit on stage where I talk about I'm done with people saying they're from a different time. And I do it in the context of racist things.
Yeah.
And I go, you're not from a different time because you're not dead yet. This is your time. And that's in the context of people being racist and bigots and hateful. This is someone being from a different time, and I think you said it here, Zach, that they didn't know how to process things. So I would believe that there's probably a world in which your father really wants to be better for his grandkids than he could be. And simultaneously, if you were to say to him, hey, before I let you be good for my kids or be around or Christmas or whatever, you need to own up to what you did to me. He may not be able to do that.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm not talking about that shit. I don't want to. And it's like, he has grown in one way, but he can't face it. And I think that may be where from a different time, that ability to process. So I think there's a possibility a therapist may say to you, what if you can't get the apology or the comeuppance from him? Because he can't do the work or wouldn't do the work to give it to you. Yeah. Are you then going to deny that from your kids? Because you may just have to accept you're not going to get this.
Yeah.
And if it was harmful enough, maybe he held a knife to your mom's throat and said, you want me to see you kill your fucking mom? Yeah. That's horrid, right?
Sounds very specific.
Right. Yeah. I'm saying I try to think of something absolutely abuse is such a blanket term, but for him it might be like, extreme, but I still think about that.
Let's go extreme.
Yeah, I still think about that.
Yeah.
And so that may be a thing you're like, I can never let go of that. Yeah. So I look at the guy who held that knife now holding my child's hand and it makes me want to throw up.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Right, and that's where therapy is
there,
real because it's going to help you specifically unpack things and be able to come to that. Yeah. As far as the question you asked for me and Rory, I think...
This is about comedy?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, like, if I had children and someone hurt them or someone hurt me as a child or someone had abused children sexually or physically, my first thought is sexually, but really it's both. You're just done. You don't ever get to be around kids anymore.
Yeah.
Because that lives in you. And I hope for you on your own path to whatever heaven or hell exists, you have worked on it.
You don't want to be the
but
risk.
I know that about you, that you do that sort of thing, physically abusive or sexually to children. I know that about you. Now, maybe you have done so much work that is a line you'll never cross again. And God, I fucking hope it.
Yeah.
But I'll never know whether or not you really crossed it, but back to never doing it again. But I know you've done it. So you just don't get to be around any kids I have a say in anymore. So that would be a line for me where I go, I don't give a fuck about legacy.
Yeah.
Legacy's gone.
Yeah.
Because
I think it comes down to those variables. If you're a country neighbor and you need butter, are you making that trip? Are you really going over here? All right, you're getting in the car.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys have butter? We just don't want to drive 20 miles into town. Ugh, that's why I couldn't be a country. I couldn't
that
do
happens
it.
in Rochelle all the time.
Couldn't do it.
A lot of times, sometimes people will meet you halfway. We'll meet you halfway. We'll bring you a cup of butter. I'm not lying.
I don't think you are.
You get out on like
I could never live
dude,
like
you
that.
get out on like Twomley Road. Your neighbor is.
I was gonna say Twomley.
Your neighbor is like at least sometimes a half a mile away.
Yeah.
And the worst is in winter.
Too much land. You know what I mean? That's the problem of too much land, of things being too affordable.
Well, we got to develop this.
Yeah,
get some
you
neighbors
need
in
get a
between here.
complex.
Get
a complex.
Get a
in
little
there.
cold. We gotta get a
little
cold.
Get a cold going.
Cul-de-sac is a word.
French.
It is, right?
It's got to be.
And
Yeah.
we take it, and no one. Cul-de-sac. What do you think it means? Circular end. Yeah, you're saying it?
Yeah.
Circular end.
What do you got?
Loop.
Well, so I grew up in a cul-de-sac.
Here we fucking
Yep.
go.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
it
Yep.
literally
Like,
means
when does it end?
When does it start?
When does it start?
it literally means the bottom of a sack.
Huh.
Cul-de-sac.
Why did that become the thing?
Baby, I need you.
Because
for my
it's a-
cul-de-sac.
All right, let's keep it clean.
Wait, so now you're trying to tell me sack is spelled S-A-C? Get out of here.
Get out of here, France. Get out of here, France. I mean, I don't know that there's enough time to really put energy to the final thought. I would say for the most part,
I bet you could do
comedy is such an individual pursuit. You have so many different personalities. I would say for the most part, a lot of comedians start out more competitive because your perception of what this is and how to succeed is maybe thrown off by the fact that you're so alone. And yes, only one person gets hired maybe for certain things. But as you age and you start to do this more, you realize the value of the community of comics, and you start to attach to certain friendships, and you make friends, and you realize having other comics around is a benefit of such a lonely job, and blah, blah, blah. So I'd say for the most part, yes, you have a lot of comics who are pieces of shit and aren't supportive, and they are vindictive and manipulative and blah, 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 Daniel Van Kurt. But then you also have a lot of comics who are very supportive, and they understand the more the merrier kind of vibe, and that, you know, the how you do on stage, which is your own space and your own amount of work, is it speaks for itself, and it's going to get you what it gets you, and that's just how it works. It isn't a matter of if Daniel goes on stage and does really fucking great, that doesn't give me it doesn't take anything away from me. If anything, it means if I'm going right after him, that the audience is in a great euphoric state. It's passing a gift on to me. It's passing the torch, and then if someone's after me, you know, you kind of want to keep it going. You know, it has nothing to Daniel's success or failure has nothing to do with my success or failure, and you start to learn that as you get older. So I would say it's not a facade, but nothing is absolutes. There are people who are fake in any walk of life, in any business, but for the most part, I would say a lot of the genuine support you probably see on social media is genuine. I think it's actually comics supporting comics.
Yeah.
I think all that's about
I'd also, and the only quick thing I'll say on it, I think that you don't remember that everything's performative on some level for the most of the time that you see us or other comics.
Yeah.
So it cuts both ways. There are people that probably to the like larger comedy audience fans think like, oh, those guys probably hang out a lot, and they're not really that close. They kind of just sort of operate in the same circle, or they're both at the comedy store a lot at the same time. And then there's people who you think are on completely different areas of stand-up comedy or podcasting and are really tight.
Yeah.
And you didn't realize that they're friends.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
But I think we're in a good spot where we are in the community, or just maybe the time of what most of the community is right now, where people are pretty much all like, hey, everybody gets successful and get along.
Yeah.
I'll say, as an outsider looking in kind of thing, like adjacent, the two of you have, because of who you are, I think you attract also a certain type of person, or you're drawn to a certain type of comic that provides that energy. I feel like there are different pockets of comics all over the place.
Yeah.
And you guys are in an incredibly
we're more inclusive than
generous
exclusive,
and supportive.
and we don't hang with very
but that also
people.
doesn't mean that the exclusive people aren't supportive of one
Sure,
another.
yeah.
It's just not
true.
as like lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Zach. Thanks for sending all 4 of these letters in. Get the order right next time. We wish you well.
Order was right. Great.
Sincerely, your pen pals, Daniel Van Kirk
And Rory Van Scovel. And we're back. You're listening to Rory Scovel and Daniel Van Scovel, Plugs and Hugs on the Pen Pals podcast. I am not.
Second week of September.
This is the second week of September. I don't know where we are in the strike. If you have a project, you're not supposed to be promoting it. I have one that I've promoted in the past. It's something I've been on for 3 years, and you should check it out if you can.
Cocaine.
Or you promote
Cocaine.
it for me. So check it out. But yeah, RoryScovel.com for tour dates. It's kind of winding down. There's only so many dates left. We might add some here and there. We don't know, but it's winding down. So if you're interested in seeing a stand-up show, check it out.
Yeah. And then I have a thing that I can't promote that I did a couple of years ago, and they've started promoting it, and I have no creative way
so broad
to tell you about it.
Yeah.
But
Am I allowed to promote?
Oh,
no, not on the show.
Not on
Okay.
our show. Yeah.
Okay. Because I would say so
But
many
on
things
your Instagram.
on your behalf. Yeah.
You don't use.
I'm on it.
Here's what I can say. I have so many dates coming out. I am going to be at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club the first week of October, and then I'm going to be...
In Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's in Vegas. And then that's like the 3rd through the 8th. And then I am going to be... This is me genuinely saying, like, how do I say all these dates? Go to DanielVanKirk.com because Lissa's going to help me put them all up.
Yeah.
Like, she'll tell me... She's going to help me as I do it. But the big one I can tell you about is on 11/11, I will be taping my special and simultaneously recording my album in Chicago at the Lincoln Lodge. Go to DanielVanKirk.com. Go there anyway if you want to see. Like, it's so much of the East Coast and Midwest and some of the South that I'll be going to. I think I'm trying. It's going to end up being like 25 cities in 6 weeks. So go to Daniel Van Kirk for all that, and then come to the Chicago show. And a little tip for pen pals that I'll tell you if you've been listening to me for a while. If I get it in the first show, which I feel pretty confident that I will, the second show I will be doing other things as well and stuff from Thanks Diane because I never put it on tape before. So if you're a diehard and you want to hang around because you got nothing to do till the after party anyway, buy tickets for both shows. And they just told me last week that they're pretty certain they're both going to sell out. So if they haven't yet, get a ticket. Everything's at DanielVanKirk.com. And if you live west of the Mississippi, I'm probably going to be near you.
Yeah.
Very soon.
And then the fastest way.
I feel like I couldn't have done that worse.
No, you did great. You got it all out there. The point was major point was getting it out there. And now, as an example of the letter we just read, we've talked about this before, and we decided, we should be saying this too. We have, we're on iHeartMedia now. We're with Will Ferrell's Big Money Players now. We love you. We have to say it. We love you, Will Ferrell. You are God. You are our God.
You are our God.
You are our God, right. Will Ferrell. Anyways, we might have attracted a bunch of people who haven't heard episodes of the show before, and maybe you want to write in and you don't know. So I'm just going to blaze through some bullet points that a lot of our loyal listeners maybe already know.
Dude,
One,
blaze out, dude.
Blaze up. Number one, if you want to write us and you are mean in any way to anybody, or just negative, if you have a negative vibe, if you open with something that's negative that you think is a joke and clearly a joke, keep in mind we might not read it as a joke, and we might be like, fuck you, and so we're not going to read it. Yeah. So just be chill. Just write us a letter.
Yeah. It's your pen pal.
2, don't think that there's a perfect letter. It doesn't exist. So if you are sitting there going, I'm going to one day write you guys, I just want to make sure I get the thing written down. I just want to make sure I don't write something that's already been written, or I want to do a thing. I would say some of the best stuff we do get letters. Some writers write us a bunch, and they just kind of keep writing us because maybe they think of a random thing as they experience things. They just write a letter. We get all the letters. We read all the letters. Sometimes they're too long and we just can't get them on the show. Sometimes it's a topic that we have already covered, so it doesn't inspire a new conversation. So if you're worried about those things, one, don't write us a letter that you think is going to get on the show. Write us a letter that is personal to you, that you think is interesting to you. If it's a story about something, that's interesting. The simplest thing sometimes becomes one of our biggest episodes in terms of response and joy and experience. So
I feel like we had a pen pal who was like, what is the best Nick Cage movie? That's why they sent us that.
Boom.
Years ago, we had a pen pal who I think they said they were with friends, and this story came up, and they told their friends. They were at the bar, and then they were like, oh, I'm going to tell my pen pals. And it was the one about the woman who fell on an escalator.
Yes.
And that's all it was.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we are your pen pals. We love a good advice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be advice. It could literally just be...
It doesn't have to be advice. It doesn't have to be you
life.
commenting on something. It doesn't have to be advice for us. It doesn't be us giving you advice. It could be a story that's personal to you, a story you heard, something, anything you think or believe, or truly everything has the potential to be a great conversation. And I would say this, if you've written us a letter, and the previous letter is a good example of it, while great, it really was 3 different letters. That could have been 3 different letters. I would say if you want to write us a thing, don't get to the end and then go, and by the way, what do you think of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? That's its own thing. We are so able to just take that and stupid that we could run with that for 30 minutes or more. So keep in mind, if you're like, yeah, but I think both these things are great, then write us 2 different emails. I would say when you're writing snail mail, and an example is that. You're in a different position. You've written a snail mail. I might as well put a lot of things in there. And I totally agree with that. And, we're not saying stop doing that completely. We're just saying, hey, we kind of love it when people give us numerous things. Yeah, we love getting numerous things. I kind of want to break that up and talk about the comedy thing more. So keep that in mind when you write these letters. One, don't assume you should send us a letter that you've already sent us because it's never been on the show. It maybe didn't work for the show. So just give us something else. Like keep writing if you so desire. We don't need it to be complex or a novel or the perfect letter. You can literally just write us something that is just a thought. It maybe gets on the show. It maybe doesn't get on the show. I got to say, we have a lot of letters. We're not dying for letters, but we love it when you guys actively participate in this show. And also, the other thing is you don't have to necessarily ask us a question. If you give us something interesting to talk about it, especially if we have a guest or just the 2 of us, we are very attention-starved people who are fully capable of taking a morsel and turning it into a fucking buffet.
I just thought of one. If this really happened to you, pen pal, write about it. If someone just wrote us, let's say this is the middle of September, so let's say a month from now, mid-October, somebody writes us and says, well, here was my experience at the apple orchard.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Simple. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be complex.
Sure.
Every letter has the potential of being useful and making it on the show. So I couldn't tell you what to do or not to do. I just want to say some things we've noticed.
I like that.
It's tough when they're really long. That is the main thing. When they're really long, it's tough to get on the show. That doesn't mean they won't ever get on the show.
We've
had long ones. We're not great readers. We've had long letters on the show because we just
rare.
Were like, we got to do
rare.
it.
And do you want to go for rare?
Yeah. So, take with all that what you will. The penpalspod@gmail.com is clearly the easiest version of sending us stuff. Not to say don't snail mail. We love snail mail. But if you're like, oh, I think of like 10 things a day. First off, that's way too many. But if you think of stuff often, the penpalspod@gmail.com is a quick little, me again, I thought about this. Like, who knows? Maybe that gets in there. We do read them all.
And the address for snail mail is care of the Pen Pals Pod.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
5419 Hollywood Boulevard, Suite C, number 121, Hollywood, California. Los Angeles, California. But I bet you could put Hollywood.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, California.
90027. God, the pressure. For me.
And me.
Pressure for me.
I hand wrote that like 100 times, sending out wristbands.
Oh, yeah.
So it's ingrained in my brain.
Are those done?
We should actually have you start doing
Can people still get wristbands?
Oh, yeah.
Wristbands are available.
I would say the best way to get them is come to a show.
Come to a show.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
the
have
guys will
wristbands
have
on my tour. Daniel will have wristbands on his date. Lisa, how do they get them if it's not in person?
You can go to our Instagram.
Yep.
They're located there. I've also linked it in a lot of the show notes.
Okay.
And you can also find it on Patreon.
Perf.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I think that's it.
I think so.
I want to reiterate that you guys read every single letter.
Yeah.
Anything that comes in, you have read.
Yeah. We don't pass over it because we need it for the show.
And so if you're nervous, like, oh, I sent something in and I don't know. I don't know if they read it. Just because they don't read it on air doesn't mean that they didn't read your letter.
It also means we might read it in 2 years.
Yeah.
Which has happened.
Yes. Let's read this final letter that's in this thing here. Rory.
Do that. Wait, do that. Look how nice I was giving you order. I love that sound. Wow.
Pretty nice.
Does that make you think of a grandparent?
A little bit, yeah. So I'd like to use this as an example. Is this one a little lengthy? Sure is, but there's a value to it. The discussion. So here we go.
Subject to change.
Always. Dear Pen Pals, I hope this letter finds you well. I have had this gorgeous paper for so long, and I'm so glad that I have a chance to use it. Didn't say stationary. Interesting.
Because it's not.
I don't remember what side of the argument I'm on.
Come over here. You'll be on the right one.
No.
Get over there.
No. I am writing you today to tell you about a change I made where I really surprised myself. About a year ago, my boyfriend and I broke up, and I was devastated. I felt completely beaten down and had a pretty hard time, but I found it gave me space to make a lot of changes and new experiences, and try new experiences. It was almost as if I was so broken down that I didn't even have energy to be anxious about trying new things, so I tried them. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. One of my best friends took me to his gym back in November. It is a small local gym with a tight-knit community that accepted me with open arms. Now, you need to understand, prior to this, I was not an active person. I did theater in high school/college and did dance lessons, but that was it, and it's been a few years. But suddenly, I found myself going to the gym 4 to 5 days a week, consistently, making new friends from all walks of life and getting fucking jacked. This gym is somehow simultaneously the best and worst gym in the area, and we love it. There is no AC, but there are 2 air hockey tables. At first, we only had
this gym so bad.
At first, we only had 1 air hockey table. Wait till I get. You're gonna want to more and more. You're gonna work out. At this gym. At first, we only had 1 air hockey table, but then the owner sold one of our fancy scales to get a second one. This was a solid investment. However, as the owner and several gym members are in a competitive air hockey league and actively use our gym to practice for competitions, I often squat to the sounds of an aggressive, high-stakes air hockey game. We have events like beer and bench or squats and shots, and at one party, I got our trainer to crush a watermelon between his thighs, and it was pretty cool. These events tend to go late into the night. Once we transfer over to the local dive bar/arcade, and it's always a blast because the people are awesome. Everyone is supportive, inclusive, and just so kind. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be a gym rat and enjoying it, I'd never believe it. Have you guys ever done something where you really surprised yourself, something that you would have never imagined you'd be doing? Do you still surprise yourself? I find it exciting to imagine we are constantly learning more about ourselves or discovering who we are. Thank you both for being such amazing people and pen pals, along with the gym and my friends. Your podcast also really helped me through a tough time. I included some pen pal friendship bracelets I made as well. Happy late 5th birthday, Heart. Wish you well, Missy. P.S. Roy, I'm writing this the day of your Durham, North Carolina show. I got 2 extra friends to get tickets to put more meat in the seats, and I also grew the shoe. I already know it will be an RRGT, and I'm glad this letter made it to you. Thank you for being you. Bing, bang, bing, bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang. RRGT are the letters right there, and I can confirm, given the fact that my daughter makes these all the time. This was intense because it's a lot of tiny beads, little disc beads. So I can confirm because this is what my daughter usually does.
I think I became a bracelet guy.
You're a bracelet guy. Well, Tay changed all of us.
No,
you know what I do? Here's what
James Taylor Day.
I got it. And that's when everyone trades them at James Taylor concert. I do got to say, my daughter has been making these, as everyone can confirm on this show.
Yeah, she's going to be on Shark Tank.
She's been making them for a long time, and I got to say, now that the whole Taylor Swift thing is going on, I wish I could go back to this being a somewhat unique bracelet, you know, usually amongst other parents,
Right, yeah.
whose kid made it, and you feel bad if you don't wear it.
Right.
But now it's not acknowledged as such, and it's more like, oh, did you go to a show, and now you're just trying to be part of this trend?
It is interesting when you
because I do like wearing my daughter's bracelet.
But it is interesting when something you've been doing for a long time, the zeitgeist lands on,
Yeah,
and now you're like, but I'm not.
I know. And so you kind of want to stop, even though I'm not going to stop because it's my daughter's bracelet. How much do you think this writer, Missy, ripped off an 80s movie and wrote it as a letter?
I was thinking about
does
that.
it not seem like Spring Break, the gym version? Like, they're going to shut us down if we don't win the hockey
Also,
tournament.
nothing against your trainers. I mean, you guys all must be in your early 20s, but how counterproductive is it to work out that hard and then drink alcohol? That is so...
I love it. I so badly want it. Here's what I want to know, if you're willing to give us more information. What are you paying? What is the monthly... Can you also... pictures.
Do we know where they're from?
Can I get pictures? Because I'm picturing, because of the no AC...
This is somewhere we're landing.
I'm picturing your classic high school, no AC, like high school workout facility, which is not advanced in any way.
Right.
I mean, who knows?
Right, well, now it is.
If you're of a Texas football team.
Oh, my God. Did you see that post?
I did.
What
Crazy.
the fuck? I sent it to both my nephews.
Yeah. It's insane.
2 of my nephews.
But yeah, I would probably join this gym, to be honest with you. I would probably join this gym.
You would?
I think so. I mean, I love the fact that
Join mine.
Everyone's so chill and fun, and then goes out and hangs out
Yeah.
and does, and like it's like, hey, let's all get in shape and work out. I mean, she said, I'm getting fucking jacked.
Yeah.
And, you know, to your point, being like, it's counterproductive. It's like, well, clearly they're outweighing the shots and drinking with the working out.
Michael Phelps proved you can do anything you want if
you're doing
eat anything you want.
Stay active.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you might be working out and then over in the corner are 2 air hockey matches going on, there's something I just kind of love about it.
Are you an air hockey guy?
I
What is your table game? Table game. Billiards, ping pong,
ping pong. It's ping pong.
air hockey.
Ping pong.
There's a couple more.
You know
There's
what I
the
did
one
in
with all
Chicago?
the bumpers.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Like
was.
shuffleboard? That's
So,
not what you're talking about, but I mean, does
I'd
that
consider
count?
that a table game.
I consider it. Well, you know, there is the shuffleboard table game.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I would consider that a table game
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
would too.
Literally. But I was going to say, in Chicago, to kill time before my Chicago show,
Love that book.
myself and Grant and Greg Barris, Grant, my
Greg.
tour manager, Grant Manship, we went to a shuffleboard bar.
Yeah.
And it had like 4 shuffleboards, a platform. Have you been there? 4 shuffleboards.
I've seen it, but no, I haven't been.
It was so much fun. And we
Yeah.
just were day drinking, having like a beer,
Yep.
playing
so
shuffleboard. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the kind of bar I would want to open. The only thing I would add is a room that's like 4 ping pong tables. And just go, keep drinking.
Have you been to the ping pong bar?
Yeah. Susan
okay.
Sarandon.
I know.
Spin.
Leo.
I went
DiCaprio, too.
the one in LA was fine, the one downtown, but I got to say I went to one, I think it was in Toronto, and I was really into. I also went with a bigger group, and I was like, oh, this is really fucking great. I love this. But
I would consider foosball a table game.
yeah, if you said what is specifically your best, it's going to be ping pong. I grew up playing ping pong. I'm very good at ping pong.
Nice.
Ping pong for sure.
Shuffleboard for me.
Yeah, I love I also, while not good at it, shuffleboard is
Easy
probably
to do
the
with a
one I
drink-
love the
a drink
most
in
that
your
I'm not
hand
good
and
at.
Conversation.
Exactly.
And your friend
takes
is
me-
opposite you, which means you have to hang out with
Yeah.
someone else and meet them and kind of get to know each other.
Even an hour later, you would still be from the other end going, it's just too hard, Rory. When will you gain knowledge from previous data?
Well, you know what you start
When
doing?
will you
You and I
apply
are
it?
similar. You'd be like, hey, man, aim for the 1-pointer.
Yeah.
Aim for the 1, and I bet you end up at 3.
Yeah.
But just can you start it? Stop aiming for 3.
Yeah, it's funny because when I play golf and we're putting, I have one friend, Johnny, that I play with a bunch, and I'll never forget this. There was one time, I mean, we're on like maybe the 15th hole, and for the 15th time has like burned his putt past the hole.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him and I go, I just still can't get that they're fast today, huh? You just still can't.
Do you remember what you said to
15
me?
putts in, you still can't.
Do you remember what you said to me about putting?
No.
Both are great. I still think about it. One thing you said was picture how hard you would need to toss the ball there.
Yeah.
That's how hard you need to be swinging. And then you said, imagine it's a bucket, and just get it in the bucket. And you'll end up within 4 to 6 inches.
You'll get close.
Sometimes you'll put it in.
Yeah.
But you'll stop going over.
That's very smart.
Aim for the bucket. He's a
You know,
very, very
I
good
can't
golf
say
coach.
that this is just
You
me
are.
transferring
Yeah, that's
knowledge.
not a bit. You are a very good golf coach.
This is me transferring knowledge.
Me.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's what literally
That's
is what
life.
coaching is.
That's life. Do you still surprise yourself? Daniel Van Kirk. Daniel Van Kirk.
No, tell me.
Just suddenly I'm Larry King.
No, I thought Jiminy Glick,
Jiminy
dude.
Glick.
Do you still surprise yourself?
Yeah, but go stick with Jiminy.
No. Daniel. You
No, Daniel. What do you do? Okay.
The first time I watched that, that might be
God.
one of the hardest times I've ever laughed in my life.
I miss Jiminy Glick
Yeah.
so much.
God.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I still? I think.
What would be something you recently started where you're like, I would have never thought I'd be doing this, but yet here I am.
You know, I felt that way when we did mushrooms,
Yeah.
and that took effort. People don't think about this. We all had to say we could go home, we could be done with this festival, we could relax. You know, no matter where you are, eventually you really just want to be home, and hopefully, and ideally, and we put in the effort to stay that extra day and make a memory, and we still have them. That's why I always say you will not regret the investment you make in a great memory.
Yeah. And that's written on his car.
And I think that that's something with a key. I think that that's something I probably wouldn't have done 5, 10 years ago.
People go, where'd you get, why'd you do that to your car? And you go, you know what? I still remember the day I scratched that into the car.
So you tell me why I did it.
So you tell me
'Cause I
why
think I
did
just
it.
told you.
And then the guy goes, all right, well, I'm not going to buy it. Okay.
And I write, didn't buy.
Didn't buy. And then the list is 300 people.
And I give a reason, and all of them next to their name is the key thing.
The key scratch thing.
God, we went down a road there. That's something I don't think I saw myself doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I got invited by a fan while I was on the road to, and I never responded to this. I didn't realize, to skydive for free. To just go skydive one morning after a show before we headed to the next city. And I read it, mentioned it to, I think I was with Greg and Grant at the time. Might have been Gilbert and Minori. Anyways, I brought it up and we talked about it. And then it wasn't until the next morning we were like in the car and they were like, yeah, that guy, the skydive guy talked to us after the show or something. And I was like, oh, fuck, I never wrote him back. And now I can't find the message, if I'm honest, if you're a fan of this show also and you want to message me again. My wife was like, you should have done it. And I'm like, I don't know. I just fear of dying that way.
3 quick ones come to mind. I've mentioned one. We have a pen pal who does tours to go swim in cages with great white sharks.
I think I would do that.
I would too, except for he said it took like 2 to 3 days to get there.
I wouldn't do that.
You're there for a day, and then
I think
back.
we have talked
And
about
I was like,
this.
it's just too much time on a boat. But I would
too much
absolutely
boat.
love to
I
do
can't
it.
do a
And
week on a
I think
boat.
he messaged me again.
I can't do a week on a boat.
Another.
You're telling me we can't find sharks closer?
They know you can, but they know they're there, so you have to go there.
They're fake sharks.
Those people are paying a lot of money for that.
What is the boat like? Is it a yacht?
I doubt it.
Then no. If you tell them it's a yacht and it's like kind
Oh
of
my
a
god! I
mini
just thought of
cruise,
another one. This is a great.
If they were like,
one.
we have a personal chef.
Okay. Here's
My
the
brain
other
immediately went to like numerous amenities that I would be
Need.
excited about.
one. So you want to go on a cruise and then
one of them I
swim
can't
with
say
great
because
whites.
it would probably ruin my marriage.
or bring it back to life.
Or fire it up.
Yeah.
But no, still personal chef.
Summer of
That I can sleep with.
of course. At least hand stuff. Summer of 2019.
And stuff.
On this show, I think, or Dumb People Town, I talked about wanting to shoot a t-shirt gun. And I had
Ooh.
so many people hit me up about it. The Chicago Dogs baseball team. And it just, I wish I would have made more of an effort to have done that. Because
Jacoby. He's like, guys, I actually can. Jacoby's the one always facilitating
But that's
these
one.
needs.
That's one. Showing up at his house.
Yeah,
Like,
that's surprising.
That's a real.
That
like,
was a surprise.
Put yourself in an uncomfortable place.
Well, that was a surprise that we put it out there, and then we actually. I mean, I remember when we got that.
We just
letter,
said we wanted to be in a parade.
Well, I just remember we got that letter from Dave. We were both like, "Do we want to do this?"
And
then we were like,
I'm proud of us for that.
I think we almost felt like we had to.
And look what that did for us and our friendship and for the show. It did all. Created all these avenues. And
have we been invited to? I guess at weddings, but have we been invited to another? We haven't been invited to a thing in a while.
We got invited to that graduation party with Will. We definitely flaked on that.
Yeah.
And Will, I think, wanted to go more than we did.
I think Will, just so you know, listener, Will wanted to go.
He really did.
We wouldn't give him the address.
Could
you imagine? Wouldn't you be like, what?
Here's one I did though. So summer 2021, I went to Hawaii, and through my friends have family there, and so I met them, and they said to me, they're like, "Yeah, if you need anything island, let us know." And then the day I got there, they go, I had met Taylor very briefly, amazing guy, Kauai Poke Company.
Swift.
You have to go there if you're ever in Kauai and support them. Van and he said to me, Saturday night, do you want to go nighttime spearfishing?
Yeah, you talked about
and
this.
I said, I have 0% clue how to do that, and I'm 100% in.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most terrifying things I've ever done, especially when you started giving me the list of ways to hopefully not die while doing it.
That was your eat, pray, love.
Yeah.
Because you were doing all those things at once.
I love that I did that. I would do it again. I was a lot of praying. Not so much loving.
Well, no, you were loving that you were stayed
Still
alive.
Yeah.
And then you ate what you got.
Yeah.
How can I eat, pray, love in one fell swoop?
We have one we still haven't done. I just thought about it this weekend. Yes.
We did do the escape room.
But we have not gone out into the wilderness and learned.
Wilderness camp.
Yes.
Let's call it wilderness camp.
We have to do it, Rory.
What if we get there and Kevin Bacon is our tour guide? Remember that movie with Sean Astin? Do you remember that movie?
Remember when he was a tour guide in A River Wild? The only River Wild that matters, and don't watch the other one.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Good.
I do know the
I
one
like
you're
a lot of
talking
people
about.
in it, but
isn't Meryl Streep or Glenn Close?
Meryl
Who is
Streep.
it? Meryl Streep. Meryl. But Kevin Bacon was a a tour guide instructor with Sean Astin. Do you know what I'm talking about? And Sean Astin, they get to their spot.
Yeah.
And then he's like, who's got the camping sticks? The whatever.
Yeah.
Whitewater Summer.
Whitewater Summer.
Never heard of this
and Sean
movie.
Astin is like,
Feature presentation.
he goes, I left him. And he makes him go back by himself, which is go over a crazy wooden bridge. He almost dies.
Sean
coming
Astin
back.
has to do this?
Sean Astin.
Just to get rid of a ring.
Yep.
Keep going.
You endlessly surprise me.
But we need to do that, Rory. We need.
No,
to
I mean it in a negative way.
We need to put
I'm
ourselves
honestly kind of tired of it.
into that situation. What if that company doesn't even exist anymore?
They're out there.
What if does our code expire?
I think we lose money. We should.
You
look
got it
into
for me as a gift.
Let's do it. Let's do it this fall.
Oh,
On
okay.
CBS.
Yeah, when we're not touring.
We'll do
independently.
it. We're gonna do it very soon. I think we covered everything, didn't we?
I think so.
Thank you for the friendship
beautiful
bracelets, Missy.
That paper is.
Thank you for this, whatever you would call this, stationery?
No.
Memo paper? Lisa?
That's stationary.
Thank
It is
you.
not.
Yes, it is.
It's art paper with room to write.
Thank you for the art paper, Missy. We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, Rory Scovel.
And Scoville Van Kirk. Ring.